then she told me that she said family means everything to me. So I knew for Christmas I'd be buying her a dictionary. Oh, hi. Yeah. Hi. This is The Jib. Welcome to our show. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of many and varied US law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. Hi, I'm Barry, and I was in favor of gay marriage, but now they've gone too far the other way.
Okay. I don't think I want to ask what you mean by that. So, okay. Anyways, hi, I'm Seamus, and I know what 6'7" means. So
6'7"?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Come on.
I don't know. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard small children saying it, and I've heard grown-ups saying it.
Right.
What it means. You know what it means.
6'7".
So what am I missing? You're not going to tell me what it means.
6'7".
You absolute unit. We're not here to discuss your superior knowledge of pop culture.
Yeah.
All right. We're here to discuss Venezuela. Why Venezuela of all places? Well, I'll tell you. I was watching the news. That's why Venezuela. So this is something I didn't. I'm moving. Don't worry. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Trump approves CIA operations in Venezuela. What we know and what's next on Al Jazeera, right? Trump confirmed he has greenlit CIA covert operations in Venezuela, right?
Yep.
So I said, okay, let's talk about that.
You know what? Whatever he says, green light to the CIA. You know what the CIA does?
Yeah. Well, let's just say it's not their first rodeo, and it's not even their first rodeo in Venezuela. And as we will see from the text of next week's episode, it's not even their seventh rodeo, but we'll see.
Yeah. So this is the first of 5 parts, right?
This is the first of 2 parts.
I mean, you probably could do 5 though, because
I could do 5.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm going to do 2, and there's the top 10 in the middle of this episode will explain just how much I've left out. It's awesome. A synergistic thing, yeah. That is Venezuela. We spoke about Grenada before in an operation call in an episode. What do we call it? Power Force or something. And that's Grenada there in the top right. Venezuela is there. Caracas is in the middle of it. Trinidad, the country, you can see that on the map too. I didn't realize it was that bloody close to Venezuela before, but there it is right on top of it. That's what we're going to be talking about. The Spanish conquest, here we go. The Spanish conquest of Venezuela kicked off in 1522, early days, right?
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
We're back to 1522. God damn, it's going to be a long episode.
Yeah, I did cut out all the stuff about the Indian conquest and so on. You can put us back in the frame now.
If you insist.
People want to see our glorious faces. They want to see your face as you react to the madness that will unfold. No. The Spanish conquest of Venezuela kicked off in 1522, and as you said, oh God, 1522, when Columbus discovered the Orinoco Delta, and he called it heaven on earth due to the massive amounts of available fresh water. He further said, if the water of which I speak does not proceed from paradise, then it is an even greater marvel, because I do not believe such a large and deep river has ever been known to exist in this world. Right? Wait until they find the Amazon, right? Until they find the Amazon. Yeah. So I imagine it must be a fairly impressive sight, this Orinoco Delta. In 1528, oh God, this colony was given by Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor and at the time King of Spain, to a German banking family in payment for debts. They called it Kleine... Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, they called it Kleine Venedig, which means Little Venice, and the Spanish for that is Venezuela. After Little Venice, because the delta and those sort of impressive waterworks and houses on the delta. After several unsuccessful attempts to find El Dorado, and we know why they were unsuccessful, the Germans were in bad shape, and by 1546, the Spaniards executed the German rulers and reasserted their control. At this stage,
didn't Herzog do a documentary about that?
No, he made a movie, something. It's actually that's what I thought of when I saw this. But then, if you don't know, Werner Herzog made a movie called Aguirre Terzon Gotis, right, which is about this Spanish conquistador, and it's all about the Spaniards taking over South America. It's an absolutely beautiful movie, and it shows exactly where the Europeans were going wrong without actually saying it. Yeah. It shows you where they went wrong, and they are, because it's a German movie. They're all German actors, and they're all speaking German. And it's a bit jarring if you don't speak to watch all these Spaniards speaking German.
Oh, it's jarring no matter the language, I think, because of
this guy.
What's a guy that plays Hanks in it? His Fiend. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, oh, he's
brilliant.
he's just looking at him is uncomfortable. He's just
Yeah, he's doing that on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah, I know.
Oh, he's brilliant. He does. He's playing the role of an insane,
yeah.
power mad, colonial absolute bastard. And
What
part
helps
of
that he was insane himself, but
yeah, he didn't have to
yeah,
reach very far.
no,
And part of the joke of the movie, if you want to call it's like the joke in American Psycho, is that no matter how psycho he gets, it's all everything around him is almost validating that approach.
yeah,
So like that's the same thing in Aguirre Rother. No matter how mad Klaus Kinski gets, Aguirre
yeah,
gets everything like he's still a servant of the empire in this new land, you know.
yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry to mean to derail. Yeah,
no,
but yeah,
it's no. I'd recommend anybody to watch any Werner Herzog movie, but Aguirre, The Wrath of God is one of the best, and the music is lovely too. The acting is
mm-hmm.
perfect, and the point of the story is very much in line with this episode.
And you can watch it for free on YouTube, believe it or not, if you look hard enough.
Oh,
Just saying.
well,
So, for those that need to.
have the special edition DVD.
Oh, well, look at you.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, 1546 we're at now. At this stage, the colonial economy was based around sugar, coffee, and cocoa, which will be familiar to any of the previous Caribbean episodes we had. Later into the 1600s and 1700s, colonial interests would move into gold mining and farming. They actually did find an El Dorado-like place. There was gold mines in Venezuela. In 1811, the Venezuelans managed to overthrow the Spanish colonial administration and set up the First Republic of Venezuela. It was the first Spanish-American colony to declare independence, but it only lasted a year. The Spanish managed to recapture Caracas by July of 1812 after a 7.7 earthquake had destroyed most of it, and some Venezuelan provinces switched to the Spanish side, which is always a risk. In August 1813, a second Republic of Venezuela was declared by Simon Bolivar, international statesman and South American hero. The national currency of Venezuela is the Bolivar. Oh, sorry, I have a picture of him. Sorry, I keep forgetting to look for the pictures. There he is. Hello, Simon Bolivar, right? That's him. Simon Bolivar, international statesman and South American hero. The national currency of Venezuela currently is the Bolivar. In 1998, Hugo Chavez changed Venezuela to the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela as the official name of the country. So I guess he is honored much in Venezuela and other South American countries.
And Colombia.
And Colombia and all in other places where he helped out, and presumably Bolivia.
Yeah.
The Second Republic also only lasted a year. In July 1814, Bolivar decamped to the east of the country with his army and as many civilians as he could get away with to avoid the legendary brutality of the oncoming José Tomás Boves. Despite leading the Spanish army, he took orders from no one, which is a poor side of any army guy, but anyway, he took orders from no one, filled his ranks with natives, mulattoes, and slaves, and openly sought the execution of any land-owning elites in Venezuela. At this time, the leaders of the independence revolution were land-owning elites. Now, this is a thing. A lot of the times when you get colonial independence movements, they are led by the elites, the aristocrats, which would have been one step away from the people kind of who were the colonial administrators. Now that happened in Ireland too. The people running the revolution were not really the peasants. It was like the Anglo-Irish people who were sick of the English government telling them what to do. And it was the same thing in many, many countries. I would say all of them, except maybe Russia, China, India. But apart from like a few places like that, that's how independence movements all over the place start, right?
Right.
So these are the landowning elites in Venezuela. They're not like the peasantry.
Like American Revolution, the same thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like the American Revolution. It was the landowning elites, but they were still fighting for American independence. But it wasn't like the sharecroppers who were fighting, you know?
Right.
So they were just the ones dying.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to know who to side with in this particular thing, because on one side you have the brutal Spanish general, Boves, but he had his army filled with actual natives and mulattoes and slaves. And the other guy you have, the genuine Venezuelan independence movement, which was the aristocrats. I don't know, you choose to pick your side. But, spoiler alert, the independence movement wins. When Boves reached Caracas, he ordered a general slaughter of all white people. Fair enough, yeah. Spain...
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's understood. I mean, anytime I read history, and whenever, you know, the native folk come in contact with a white man, I'm always like, kill it, kill it. You won't, you won't go wrong. You got,
That's why Star Trek has the Prime Directive. Even if you're helping them, even if you're the only reason you're going there is to medical aid for a plague, you will fuck them up somehow.
Yeah. Never trust the white man.
Yeah, I never trust the white people.
No.
Do not trust anybody who looks like me.
That's right. Barry.
Yeah, me in particular. Yeah. Spain retained full control by 1816.
Yay.
From 1817 to 1819, Bolivar he's still active, by the way, even though he lost. Bolivar constituted a semi-government organization in the Plains inland region of Venezuela, headquartered at Angostura, which historians kindly called the Third Republic of Venezuela, even though it was really just a kind of a half place. As they were far from the coast where all the action was, they didn't have much effect on anything. But they got time to get their shit together, which is often invaluable if you happen to be an army, In 1819, Bolivar led an army to liberate the entirety of New Grenada, that part of the Spanish colonial empire which contained Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, and Venezuela, where those countries are now, right? That was New Grenada. In a move historians have compared to Hannibal crossing the Alps to attack the Romans, he managed to take an entire army over the Andes and took Bogota by June, Bogota in Colombia, of course. By December, Bolivar was appointed by the Congress of Angostura, meaning his friends and allies basically, the president of Colombia, which comprised all the areas of New Grenada and is referred to by historians as Gran Colombia to avoid confusion. Gran Colombia was all those places. They did not call it Gran Colombia, they called it Colombia. If I just said Colombia, you might confuse it for Colombia, so we all called it Gran Colombia, even though they didn't. Despite the new constitution specifying that the capital of Gran Colombia should be named after Bolivar, he soon agreed to settle in Bogota, which he named Bogota as such to honor the local Indian tribes. Right? By 1830, after a series of poor decisions by Bolivar, and yes, if anybody is watching this from South America, poor decisions by Bolivar, get over it. A declaration of war against Peru, he declared war on Peru, and a general restlessness among the different regions, Gran Colombia collapsed into Venezuela, Ecuador, and New Grenada, which comprised Colombia and Panama. Now, we discussed what happened to the Panama end of New Grenada in our episode Operation Urgent Fury, which you should watch if you're interested in what happens if you live in the narrowest stretch of an otherwise massive and impassable continent. In 1830, José Antonio Páez declared an independent Venezuelan state. He also served as president from 1830 to 1835 and from 1839 to 1843. In 1847, his chosen successor, José Tadeo Monagas, decided to disband the government and declare himself dictator. Páez was exiled in 1850 and lived in New York until his return, where he declared himself a dictator in 1861.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, after having the previous president, Pedro Gual, arrested and exiled. In his own words, put us back on the screen. In his own words, part of the reason I want us back on the screen is so you can see where the direct quotes are, by the way, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. In his own words, he claimed unlimited power with the aim of pacifying the republic and constituting it under a popular republican system. Now, it turns out he couldn't do much about a full-blown war called the Federal War, fought between the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party to challenge the Conservatives owning all the land and holding all the government positions. So now we are seeing a popular movement of non-aristocrats called the Liberal Party, which was also run by aristocrats, but it was a non-aristocrat leaning. In 1863, Páez signed a peace treaty after it became clear that the Liberals were going to win, and Juan Crisóstomo Falcón became president. Between 1870 and 1887, Antonio Guzmán Blanco was president 3 times, and he was moderately successful in at least making a genuine effort to modernize Venezuela. Now, you're getting an idea already about the kind of carousel of power we're talking about here in the 1800s. It was a time of instability. When he resigned in 1887, a succession of weak leaders led to such a level of political instability that by 1892, in the middle of a vicious civil war, and after a coup by General Joaquín Crespo, many countries sent warships to protect their financial interests. Okay, everything's so bad now, the European countries are starting to panic, right? The summer, the Spanish sent the warship Jorge Juan, the Germans sent the warship SMS Arcona, the French sent the Magon, and the Dutch sent the warship De Ruyter.
De Ruyter? I hardly know her. Sorry. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
SMS.
I'm signing off now. Okay.
No, that's fine. There's other ones you can rip on as we go down. SMS is the German for Oh, he's signing Majesty ship, like a ship, right? Sign a Majesty ship. Yeah, SMS Arcona. In September, they were joined by the English warship HMS, meaning His Majesty's ship, right? HMS Canada and HMS Pylades. HMS Canada is a ship. Later that month, they were joined by the USS Concord.
Wait. What was the name of that ship again?
The first one was HMS Canada, the English warship, and the other one was HMS Pylades.
So it's an exercise ship.
An exercise ship, yeah, cool. All right, cool. I missed all these when I was good stuff. They were joined by the USS Concord, and USS, I guess, is a United States ship, right? Is that what it stands for? Concord, and the USS Kearsarge. We heard about the USS Kearsarge before, but this is where it was in 1892. Crespo took charge, supported by National Executive, and inspired the International Massed Navy off his coast with enough confidence that they accepted his assurances and left. And this guy, Crespo, would serve as president until 1898. Now, in any other country, having a load of ships from a load of countries sit off your thing would be referred to as a crisis. However, and that was just Tuesday in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Because, on Wikipedia, that's just something that happened. Instead, the long diplomatic fight with England about the eastern province of Venezuela would blow up into the Venezuelan crisis of 1895, which is in fact referred to as a crisis. The central problem was Britain's refusal to recognise the internationally approved boundary with British Guyana. There's Guyana to the right, okay? See it?
Yep.
Yeah. The central problem was Britain's refusal to recognise the internationally approved boundary with British Guyana. Venezuela's man in Washington managed to convince Grover Cleveland that Britain's actions were a violation of the Monroe Doctrine. England accepted the US offer of arbitration, and at a tribunal in Paris in 1898, most of the contested territory was awarded to British Guyana. The more important upshot of this crisis was that Britain recognised the Monroe Doctrine as a valid instrument of international policy. These are the top 10 Venezuelan revolutions. Like many countries in Latin America and elsewhere, after the end of colonial rule, Venezuela found its power structures and political institutions in ruins. And because they have lots of stuff Europeans want, they were subject to constant external influence, which did nothing to stabilize the situation. In later years, the US would move to stabilize these countries, but in that context, stabilize means secure the assets and export vectors, with no attention paid to anything else going on in the country. The period from 1831 to 1901 was rocky for Venezuela, and this will give you an idea of how much I've been leaving out, right, to try and crunch this into something we can put up with as humans. Here is a short list of the revolutions during that time from 1830 to 1901. Some of these, or the events involving these things, have already been mentioned. The Revolution of the Reforms, 1835 to 1836, a conservative military revolt led by José Tadeo Monagas, sought to overthrow President José María Vargas and restore military dominance in politics. The peasant insurrection of 1846 was a rural uprising driven by economic hardship and land inequality that challenged the government of Carlos Sublet, but was swiftly suppressed. The Venezuelan Civil War, and again, any of these things could also be regarded as a civil war because of the structure, because of the way Venezuela was. The Venezuelan Civil War of 1848-1849 was a conflict between conservative forces loyal to José Antonio Páez and liberal followers of José Tadeo Monagas, ending with Monagas's victory and consolidation of power. Barquisimeto Rebellion of 1853 was a short-lived regional revolt against Monagas's central authority, reflecting growing unrest with his authoritarian rule. The March Revolution, don't worry, we'll get to the end of this. The March Revolution of 1858, the uprising that deposed José Tadeo Monagas and led to the fall of the Monagas dynasty, paving the way for a federalist-centralist conflict. In other words, a whole new series of fights opened up because of the power vacuum. The Federal War of 1859 to 1863, the bloodiest civil war in Venezuelan history, fought between federalists seeking regional autonomy and centralists defending Caracas's power, ending with a federalist victory. La Genuina, let's say that's La Genuina, no, La Genuina, because we're Spanish, right? La Genuina, in 1867, was a brief internal liberal revolt against Juan Crisóstomo Falcón's government, driven by dissatisfaction within his own ranks. That happens too sometimes. The Blue Revolution of 1868 was a conservative uprising led by José Tadeo Monagas that topped Falcón's liberal administration and restored conservative, the Blues in other words, control. The April Revolution, you see this again, we're seeing the carousel, right? The April Revolution of 1869, a liberal counter-revolt attempting to unseat the conservative regime of José Roberto Monagas, ultimately failing. The Coro Revolution of 1874, we're halfway there now, a rebellion centered in the state of Falcón opposing Antonio Guzmán Blanco's autocratic rule, which he quickly crushed. The Revindicating Revolution of 1878, a revolt led by General Gregorio Cedeno, and other liberals against Guzman Blanco's continued influence, suppressed before getting any real traction. The Legalist Revolution of 1892, Joaquin Crespo's successful armed movement to restore the 1864 federal constitution and depose President Raimundo Andueza Palacio. Okay, we're good, don't worry. The Caiba, 1898, a failed uprising by Jose Manuel Hernandez El Muerto against Crespo's successor Ignacio Andrade, contesting alleged election fraud. The restorative liberal revolution of 1899, Cipriano Castro's march from Colombia that overthrew Andrade and brought Andean caudillos to power. Caudillo means local warlord. Of 1901, a massive armed revolt led by regional caudillos, meaning regional warlords, against Castro's centralist regime, lasting until 1903 when government forces finally prevailed. That'll give you an idea of the stuff I skipped because I value your time. I know you have things to do, and I like you guys, and that's why I didn't go into details on any of those things, right? But now we're going to talk about something that is worth talking about. Let's stop laughing. Now we're going to put up the next photo. Yeah, of Cipriano Castro. I think I have a photo of him there, don't I? That's a thing. Yeah, there's Cipriano Castro, a cartoon of him. Venezuela para los Venezolanos, which, means Venezuela for Venezuelans, right?
He's got large hands.
He has, but look at the size. That's not a knife, right?
Yeah.
Large hands.
It's a very, maybe a phallic symbol,
Any knife is.
Suggestive,
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Okay, take him out and put us back on again.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. In 1899, Cipriano Castro took over the country with the help of his friend Juan Vicente Gomez and his army, which is great. I think that's great because Castro rocked up to Caracas like, "Hey, I'm taking over the country. You and whose army?" Juan Vicente Gomez, I believe, is the guy you're looking for. In October of that year, he stopped payments of all foreign debts, which were substantial, especially to Britain and Germany. Now let's just think about that. He just decided, I'm not paying the debts. Fuck all y'all. That's it. I kind of respect that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with that, right? In 1900, another 7.7 earthquake destroyed much of Caracas. Castro woke up in the middle of the night and jumped out the window of his presidential palace, which is called the Yellow House, and it's still there. They don't live there anymore, but the house is still there. And he broke his ankle. In 1901, Germany pushed Venezuela to attend the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, which had only just been established 2 years previously, over the debts they had refused to honor. They were still refusing to honor, and they also didn't answer anybody's phone calls. Fantastic. They gave no answer at all to Germany's request to attend the Permanent Court of Arbitration. In April 1902, the Netherlands sent the warships HNLMS Koningen Regentes and the HNLMS Utrecht to Venezuela to stop what they regarded as harassment of Dutch merchant vessels by the Venezuelan Navy. Now, the Venezuelan Navy were, in fact, very active in boarding vessels and checking them for contraband and so on. And I guess if they do it enough, you're going to see that as harassment. But I don't know if you'd see it enough to send the Marines in, but that's what the Netherlands did. Throughout 1902, Britain wrote to the Venezuelan government 17 times about the $15 million they were owed, but received no reply to any of them. In November 1902, Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany signed an agreement with his uncle, Edward VII of England, that they would deal with Venezuela together. Germany was afraid that Britain would do some back deals with the US and withdraw, leaving Germany alone to face the US Navy, which, no in England. In early December, this will make sense in a bit. In early December, Germany and Britain both issued ultimatums which were also unanswered. The Germans sent the warships SMS Panther, SMS Falke, SMS Gazelle, and SMS Veneta to blockade the port. The British sent the warships HMS Alert and the HMS Charybdis, which I guess was a partner of Pallades. In the middle of December, Italy sent some warships. On December 20, in December 20, the blockade officially began with the destruction of the entire Venezuelan Navy. Apparently they sank them all in a few days. The British and German ships then started shelling the ports. And now Castro decided he wanted arbitration after all. Britain and Germany refused. This is a cartoon of Britain and Germany pulling apart. Castro is represented in the middle by a game bird. Germany there is on the right with the Prussian helmet, and on the left there is Britain, and they're just having a go at the bird there. And you'll see Uncle Sam looking patiently on, carrying a stick.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's very fair. It's very accurate. Why isn't he doing anything? Well, he'll do something. Don't worry about that.
Mm.
Right. Back to us now. On December 22, 2 days afterwards, the Times published The Rowers, a poem by Rudyard Kipling, which they felt reflected the public mood over the crisis. There are 11 verses to this thing, but I value you people, and I like you, and I'm not going to waste your time with the 11 verses, so I'm just going to give you 3 of them. Last night you swore our voyage was done, but seaward still we go. You tell us now of a secret vow you've made with an open foe. There was never a shame in Christendie, they laid not to our door, and you say we must take the winter's sea, and sail with them once more. Our dead they mocked, are scarcely cold, our wounds are bleeding yet, and you tell us now that our strength is sold to help them press a debt. Right? Now, the general feeling, the mood on the ground in England is that why are we partnering up with the Germans? We hate them. And Germany also had that fear. And that's why they got them to sign the contract saying you have to, we succeed with Venezuela together or we fail with Venezuela together. That's what the contract says, right?
Yeah.
Right. But the popular mood was different. They didn't like the fact that they were working with the Germans at all. That's all the ships that were blockading the Venezuelan ports. You see, it's pretty difficult to get anything out of the country like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're kind of fucked.
Now, a question, with this situation in mind, and Castro not really talking to anybody, the question is, what's Castro thinking? Right? It became clear that Castro believed the Monroe Doctrine would protect him.
Yeah.
As we covered in our Founding Feckheads episode on James Monroe, the basic gist of the doctrine of this doctrine of U.S. foreign policy is that any political intervention in any country in North or South America by any European powers would be taken as a hostile act by the United States. This would appear to cover what was happening in Venezuela if you cast your eyes slightly downward to the, hey buddy, the blockade is down here, happening in Venezuela, right?
Yep.
However, in 1901, before the blockade, as vice president, Roosevelt had said in his familiar style that if any South American country misbehaves towards any European country, let the European country spank it. So, I mean, they follow the Monroe Doctrine apparently solely when they feel like it, and not because of an actual principle. Right? It's not a principle. It's just something they like.
A trend that will continue.
A trend that will continue.
Yeah.
The rest of our episodes. Yeah. On the 29th of December, this is all 1 week. On the 29th of December, the Argentinian Minister of Foreign Affairs sent a message to the United States that failing to pay a national debt was not a cause for violent intervention. Eventually, Britain and Germany agreed to arbitration, and on agreement with Castro, the blockade was lifted on the 19th of February 1903. Roosevelt would later claim that he had intimidated the Germans into agreeing to arbitration with the might of the U.S. Navy, but there is no evidence for this.
Yeah, he's such a bullshitter.
Yeah, well, he's a big guy, and he likes being a big guy, right?
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a Putin in him, I think. He just likes being seen on a horse.
Yeah.
I think he was actually quite a...
Yeah, I mean, he did fight. He did some, macho bullshit stuff, but,
Yeah, he was fronting and also a genuinely hard ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike Putin, who's just fronting.
Yeah, but he was definitely thick in the head, but,
Well,
although he did try to get rid of the monopolies. That's not the only thing you could say.
Teddy Roosevelt's not
he's a very complicated...
Yeah.
There's a lot to hate. There's also a few things to like.
I think we're all learning from our Founding Feckhead series that they're all complicated. It seems more likely that the Germans followed the recommendations of the British delegation as they followed British recommendations throughout the blockade, and they also let the British take over the military operations. The British ambassador to Germany at the time said that the idea of arbitration did not smile on them, but they accepted it at once because we proposed it. So I guess the Germans were just taking they probably felt that the British Navy knew more about how to run a sea operation than they did, which would have been accurate, to be honest, to be fair to them. Yeah. Venezuela recognized in principle the validity of the claims of the blockading powers and consented to a 30% level on the monthly custom revenues from 2 of their biggest ports, La Guaira and Puerto Caballo. Caballo means horse, so I guess that means horse port. As a direct result of this crisis, the Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine was created, stating that the U.S. was entitled to invade a country and take over their finances if the economic situation was causing sufficient levels of political instability. The first deployment of this Roosevelt corollary was born in Venezuela, but the first deployment of it was in the Dominican Republic in 1905, and you can learn more about that in our episode Operation Power Pack Part 1, where I discuss the first deployment of the Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. Fuck me. The Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine in the Dominican Republic in 1905. Leave that in, don't edit it out.
Okay.
This next bit is Juan Vicente Gomez. They need to understand that my sentences are too long, and I am also aware of it. In December 1908, after passing a number of laws that interfered with Dutch trading in Venezuela, Castro expelled the Dutch ambassador. The Netherlands again sent some warships, this time the HNLMS Jacob von Heemskerk, HMLNS Gelderland, and the HMLNS Friesland. At the same time, Castro became unwell and was forced to go to Germany for treatment. As soon as his ship had left the dock, his old friend Juan Vicente Gomez took over the country, declared himself president, and exiled Castro.
Okay.
So we can only imagine how long that was brewing in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just waiting for him to cross a border, anywhere. Gomez immediately reversed the laws that were unkind to the Dutch merchants, and the Dutch ships left. So I guess he dealt with that problem, right?
Yep.
Gomez soon proved to be an able statesman capable of keeping the various local warlords from rebelling with the help of a new telegraph system, which dramatically reduced the delay between trouble breaking out and the army being sent to deal with it. On the 15th of April 1914, something happened which would completely change Venezuela forever and pretty much dictate their entire national policy. What do you think happened in the 15th of April 1914, Seamus? Are you reading it?
No, I'm not actually.
What do you think happened in 1914 in Venezuela?
I don't know.
To completely change everything about that country forever, and it's why they are the way they are now.
I don't know.
They discovered oil.
Oh, that'll do it. That's an oopsie poopsie.
A massive oil field was discovered by Caribbean Petroleum in the Maracaibo Basin. And that is it. We're going to, because that's a massive thing, we're going to discuss, in part two, we're going to discuss the rest of Venezuela's history, because it is essentially the history of oil in Venezuela, the rest of the history of the country.
Sweet.
Yeah, their economy completely changes from coffee and cocoa to oil. And right now their economy is oil. So it's going to be relevant. So that is the first half of the episode. And I guess we're going to have a What's New, are we?
Yeah, I guess.
Let's do them, why not?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. It was such a proper normal Jib episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also there's only two episodes in our history where I said what's new properly, and that's one. Yeah. Just before every podcast, I put CIA, the word CIA, into Google and hit the news tab, and Seamus puts FBI into Google and hits the news tab. And then we pick 2 or 3 stories, or 5 or 12, we think might be interesting or funny. We've not told each other what these stories are, but Seamus did tell me in the green room that he has more than 3. Is that fair?
Yep.
But we don't know what the stories are, so we're hearing them for the first time, just like you are. Seamus, hit me with your FBI rhythm stick.
Maryland sues Trump administration over scrapping FBI headquarters plans. So we've talked about this before, where they were trying to move it, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen now. So Maryland's like, "Fuck you! You said you were going to do it, so you owe us money," which is reasonable.
The FBI's headquarters in Quantico.
Yeah,
in Virginia.
Virginia, yep, correct.
They were going to move to Maryland.
That's what the plan was, and then now they're not going to do it. So,
cool. Thanks.
Yep. The FBI is trying to unmask the registrar behind archive.today, which is kind of like a 12-foot window or ladder, rather.
I love Archive.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out who the creator is, which is fucked up. I'm sure folks can read between the lines of why that would be an issue for the FBI or the administration, or possibly other foreign countries that we suck the dick of. FBI urges.
If you're not familiar with Archive, what it does is it immediately archives every news site in every country in the world, at least anyone that gets a request. So if a news site like ABC is forced to delete a story, you can still find it on the Archive. Or if they change, sometimes they just change the headline. You can find it on the Archive. And I've used Archive myself on a number of occasions. Yeah.
FBI urges ICE to ID themselves as criminals impersonate officers. Wow. You mean you're wandering around with guns and masks and you're surprised that people are going to take advantage of that and commit crimes, like kidnap people from schools and children and stuff? Yeah. Or commit assault. Oh, I mean, some of them are also ICE agents because they're fucking committing crimes.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
weird.
Yep. FBI fires additional agents who participated in investigation of Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 election.
Oh, okay.
Also, Kash Patel got in trouble for using his private jet to go on a date with his girlfriend.
Oh, fuck off!
And
No.
he was asked by a reporter, and he flipped the fuck out and ended the conversation. So,
But he didn't use an FBI jet. He used his own jet.
it was FBI jet.
Oh, then fuck him.
Yeah, exactly. FBI agents visit anti-ICE protester at home.
Oh.
And of course, the Inside the War and Antifa is also kind of interesting because you have Kristi Noem out there saying that they arrested the girlfriend of the creator of Antifa. Yeah. They make all these fucking insane claims that don't mean shit.
It was created in Germany in 1934.
Yeah.
So if you
what Germany 1934? That seems like that would be against something bad.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But if they arrested the girlfriend of the guy who created Antifa, oh man, I hope they brought the CPAP machine or whatever.
Yeah, but again, they're using the NSPM-7, which we covered on this. Is basically the rules for indicators for terrorism, right? Which is anybody that's against the current administration, anybody that's how did they phrase it? That you're interested about race and gender, normal things. If you're against Christianity, against American values.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually, a lot of these things are what Trump himself could be accused of, but
Well, Trump has directly said to camera on more than one occasion that he thinks it should be illegal to criticize him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yep. I think that's going to be enough for my what's new.
You happy with that?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm going to move on to the CIA. On Bloomberg, CIA deputy warns lengthy shutdown poses national security risks. I mean, you don't need Bloomberg to tell you that, do you?
No.
The Foreign Intelligence Agency is already struggling to fund some critical operations. Now, the next one is the CIA used a psychic meditation program, and it's never been more popular. It's called the Monroe Institute, and apparently the CIA uses it, and regular folks are going there now to do psychic meditations and do all sorts of weird, definitely not real stuff.
Yeah.
There's on another website, it says the role of the CIA in the dismissal, which is about the CIA. And look, remember our episode, The Dismissal?
Oh, the Wim Goff.
Yes.
Okay.
In a series of articles this year by John Stafford, particularly on the role of the CIA and MI6, it was helpful in figuring out what happened. And Brian Toohey added to our knowledge and shining a light in the dark world of spies. The revelation that came latest to me was the role of the CIA and MI6. I was conscious of Governor General John Kerr's great interest in security matters and wearing medals. This was clear in the many meetings I had, but I discounted direct CIA MI6 involvement. I've changed my mind on that as more information has become available and security reports have become declassified. The CIA was involved, not by supporting a military coup like they did in Iran and Chile, but by backing a constitutional coup by Kerr in cooperation with the palace and MI6. And that's pretty much what we said in our episode. But this is
just real quick, the Dollop just did an episode about the guy that followed him and also took part in helping that coup go down. Joe Peterson. It's Joe something Peterson. But anyways, fucking fascist. I mean, very much.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's worth, I believe the episode, it's going to be episode 708 for those who will check that out.
This is on
the Dollop.
This website is on johnmanadu.com, and it's cool. Just very interesting stuff about what he found about the CIA role, this is kind of stuff I was looking for when I wrote the episode. All I had was suggestions, and we said, like, do you remember that episode? I don't know whether it was a top 10 or not, but there was a list of reasons. It was the top 10 in that episode. Yeah. A list of reasons the CIA might be involved, but I had no proof of it. But this guy now is after pretty much saying the CIA definitely was involved.
I always thought we ought to do a jib jab about was it the Falcon and the Winter Snowman or whatever it is? We should do maybe that
first, and then we'll do
it. Yeah.
Or I'd say in Venezuela, the Falcon.
Yeah.
And the next one is, the headline is, I've done a read review on it. Feds move to subpoena former CIA director and others who investigate Russian interference in Trump's 2026 campaign. Prosecutors in Florida moved to issue subpoenas to former CIA Director John Brennan and other former officials as the Justice Department investigates the federal government's counterintelligence investigation into Donald Trump's first presidential campaign. It's just so fucked up.
Yeah.
Contacts with Russians. Sources told CNN. And if you want your brain to be bent, please check that out on CNN. Those are my CIA links.
Sweet.
That's our episode, I guess, is that? Do you have any
Yeah.
questions or comments?
Nope.
In 2 weeks' time, the mighty...
we know. Yeah, we know what we'll be doing in 2 weeks, so that's easy.
Yeah. If you have 2 weeks to read up on Venezuela and have any questions or comments for me, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks, guys.
Bye, folks.